Hi, grade 5, how are you? Okay, so for the first session, we are going to finish module 4, what happened. And that's why we have here the lesson divided into two parts. First thing, we'll have the reading time on page 50-51, and then we move to the roundup. Okay, first thing, so the reading time on page 50-51. So, of course, we have the warm-up. I have here a question to ask about your own experience. Have you ever been to a zoo? What animals did you see there? Then you have activity 1, page 50, that presents you with a new vocabulary. And I have added sentences to help you understand them more. The zookeeper works in the zoo. He takes care of the animals. So the zookeeper is to be a zookeeper is an occupation, it's a job. The verb catch is an irregular verb. Its past simple form is caught. For example, Derek went fishing with his dad and they caught a big fish. Then we have the word escape, that is to get free. For example, in this game, you must find the key to the door and escape or get free, to go out from a place where you don't want to stay. Then we move to activity 2. So here we have the story, reading time. Now read the title and pay attention to the illustrations and tell me what the story is about. Now, is the text factual or fictional? So if it is factual, it is taken from reality. Fictional, it is imaginary. Go through the story and find the names of the characters, the name of the boys that you see in the story. Here, read each frame and find and circle the new words from activity 1. So the new vocabulary we have seen on page 50, you circle them in the story. Then you play the recording and read along with it in order to find out what the children found in the garden. What did they find in the garden? And then we check comprehension with activity 3, page 51. Then you go to activity 4, and then post-reading activity, we have the exercises of the workbook on page 41, activity 1 and activity 2. Then we have the roundup. I would like you to go directly to the workbook, page 44 and 45. So here we have 5 exercises to do. Now let's move to the second session. So here we will go to module 5, eating right. And lesson 1 is a quiz that you will find in your student's book, page 55. Now, first activity here, warm up. Look at this picture. Which food is healthy and which is unhealthy? So you write healthy for a thing that is good for you, or unhealthy that is bad for you under each food. So we have here, for example, chips, bananas, cheese, sweets, which are healthy, good, and which are unhealthy, bad for your health. Which brings vitamins and things that you need that is healthy, and which brings sugar and things that we don't need much. Okay, for activity 1, page 55, we have, as usual, the new vocabulary. I have added some sentences here to explain more. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the 3 basic meals of the day. So normally we should eat 3 times. We have 3 basic meals, apart the snacks that we can take. When I am hungry, my favorite snack is some fresh fruit. A snack, for example, you can take one in the morning at 10 o'clock and one in the afternoon at about 4 or 5 o'clock. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables is very healthy, but eating lots of sweets is unhealthy. Then we move to the quiz on page 55. And here, first thing, what is the quiz on page 55 about? What is the topic? how healthy do you think you are? And you read the questions of the quiz and you answer them by circling either A, B, or C. Then, after you answer, you count your results and you read the corresponding text to find how healthy you are. Now, then, if we go to the post-reading activity, look on page 55. Here they make the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. So, when we deal with it, that is things that we can count or things that we cannot count. For example, there's some milk, some cereal, and some eggs too. There's some lettuce, or there are some tomatoes and some onions too. Now here, eggs, tomatoes, and onions are in green color to show you that they are countable. We can say 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, 1 tomato, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, 10 onions. But for the word in red colors, the words in red color, they are uncountable. We cannot say 1 milk, 2 milks, or 1 cereal, or 1 lettuce. It's not possible. They are uncountable, and that's why we have with them some milk, some cereal, some lettuce. Now here I have a table to deal with countable nouns. So when we deal with countable nouns, we always have singular form and plural form. Egg, eggs, tomato, tomatoes, onion, onions. But many nouns are called countable because we can count them. For example, we say a tomato, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, an orange, 2 oranges, 3 oranges. So we say a or an, that means 1. The only difference between them is that we use an for a word that begins with a vowel. An orange is easier to pronounce than when we say a orange. It's difficult to say. So, the other remark is that we can use countable nouns in singular and plural form. We have the two. But what about the uncountable nouns? We have singular only. We have only one form. So we say milk, cereal, lettuce. We cannot add s because we cannot count them. Other nouns are uncountable because we can't count them. For example, water, oil, sugar, bread, rice. So we use uncountable nouns in the singular form only, and we say butter. We do not say butters. So with them we can use there is or there are. So we use there is for something that exists in a place, and there are for more than one thing that exists in a place, that is with the plural form. So for example, we can say there is or there's plus a or an with singular countable nouns. So we say there's a banana in the basket, or there's an onion in the fridge. For number 2, we say there are and some with plural countable nouns. So we can say there are some pears in the bag, but we can also make a number here. There are 4 pears, for example. There are some eggs on the table. There are 6 eggs on the table is also possible. But for the use of theirs with uncountable nouns, use theirs and some with uncountable nouns, and we always use theirs or there is because we don't have plural. There's some bread in the kitchen, or there's some lettuce in the fridge. So for the use of some, we use some to refer to the quantity of nouns. So some refers to a small quantity, okay? But we can use it with countable or uncountable nouns. Then we have an exercise here. So complete the sentences, use there is or there are, a or an, and some. So you look at the different pictures. So we have here cake, sandwiches, milk, pizza, ice cream, sugar. banana, and spaghetti. Then I have added you some more information about the uses of some and any. So for some, we essentially use it in positive sentences, like you have here, I've got some money, or I'm going to buy some clothes, there's some ice in the fridge, or we did some exercises. But we use any in negative sentences. Look at this man, I haven't got any money. So we use any in negative sentences. I'm not going to buy any clothes, there isn't any orange juice in the fridge, or we didn't do any exercises. And we also use any in questions. Look here, have you got any money? So in most questions, but not all, we use any. Is there any ice in the fridge? Has he got any friends? Do you need any help? Now for the use of how much and how many. Now, when we deal with how much and how many, we ask about the quantity or the amount of something, food or anything else. So let's start first with how much. So I want to know the quantity or amount. How much is always used with uncountable nouns. How much sugar would you like? How much time do we have to finish? How much money did you spend? How much milk is in the fridge? And we use also how much when I want to know the price. But this time we use how much with singular or plural nouns, countable or uncountable. Or we can also use the verb cost or be. We look at the examples. How much is this dress? How much are these shoes? How much did your jacket cost? How much will it cost me? Now for the use of how many, so it is also to know the quantity or the amount, but we use how many with plural countable nouns. How many days are there in January? How many books did you buy? How many students are there in this room? How many cousins do you have? The noun is often omitted in questions when it is obvious that we are talking about. For example, we can say, I would like to buy some cheese. How much would you like? It's not necessary to repeat the word cheese. I need some coins. How many do you need? I need some sugar. How much do you need? Then we move to activity 3, page 55, and the exercises in the workbook. So we have on it on page 44 and 45, activity 1, 2. For 3, I have added the listening transcript. Like this. Okay, now let's go to lesson 3. So here we have still module 5 eating right, lesson 2 top stars. You find it in your book, page 56, 57. So warm up. Do you usually have lunch at school or at home? Now you look at the new vocabulary in activity 1. So the cake is ready. Let's eat. I don't like my coffee without sugar. Now the reading activity on page 57, activity 2. Have a look at the pictures. Where are the girls? Pay attention to the frames and find and circle the words from activity 1. Play the recording and read along with it in order to find out what Amal has for lunch. And we check comprehension with activity 3. Now, with Luke on page 57, we still deal with many and much. So we use many in negative sentences with countable nouns and much in negative sentences with uncountable nouns. For example, there aren't many biscuits on the plate, or there aren't many students in the classroom. There isn't much juice in the bottle, or there isn't much ketchup on my cheeseburger. Now, for the use of the modal shall, we use shall to make offers. We use shall in the first person, either I, first person singular, or we, first person plural. Shall I get the milk, Mom? Sure, yes please. Thank you. So these are examples of answers after we are asked with shall. Then we can also have questions with can, and can is to make polite requests and or ask for a favor. Can I have some cake, please? Then we have also the expression would you like, to ask someone what he or she wants. And we have also I'd like, that means I would like, to answer accordingly. Would you like some pears? Yes, please. I'd like 6 pears. Also, to talk about quantities, we have other expressions today. We use a lot of or lots of with countable and uncountable nouns to talk about large quantities. Example, there is a lot of ketchup on my hamburger, or there are lots of vegetables in my plate. On the contrary, we use a few with countable nouns and a little with uncountable nouns to talk about small quantities. So there are a few people in the park and there is a little soup in the bowl. Now, then we move to the exercises in the workbook, page 48, activity 1, 2, and 3. Okay, thank you for your attention. I hope that this video will help. See you next week.